you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, baby, representing Team Kings of Games. And today I'm coming at you guys with an update on Prank Kids, yo. You definitely gotta check out all my crazy lists on my channel that I've done with this. We had Prank Kid Invoked Orcus. That was probably my funnest list ever. When Mermaid was still legal, we were doing nutty Kaliga boards with totally awesome crescendo. It was very, very stupid. Dude, we were using Kaliga long before Invoke Shaddolls tried to repopularize that card. But this deck is really fun. I love it. It's so splashable, and when I say splashable, it's really more or less, I wouldn't say that, it's interchangeable. Because you can't really splash Prank Kids into another deck, but there's so many archetypes that can be splashed into this. For example, Thunders when they were popular, Invoked before they were popular, and also Orcus when Mermaid wasn't banned, and other fusion variants that you can play into this deck. Now, there are some cards that I no longer own that are not in the main deck. Like, for example, I have no Called by the Graves to my name, and I would definitely play Called Bys because I just love them in this list. This deck just really needs Called Bys sometimes because, you know, there's just certain hand traps that don't necessarily stop your turns, but stop your follow-up plays. What I mean by that is like Ghost Bell and DD Crow can just really hurt because your graveyard recoveries, but in your terms of starting your plays up, like, this deck doesn't really get hurt by much hand traps, and Drill does like almost nothing to this deck at all. So it's pretty awesome. I love this deck personally. It has a close place in my heart. I think it's a crazy good sleeper deck. I think that under the new Master Rule, this deck's going to be even more popular. It can spam links and it can spam XYZs, and it's very, very, very powerful. So I also want to let you guys know I do have a PayPal and a Patreon. The link is in the description box below of every video since I started this channel 4 years ago. I've never not. So I would greatly appreciate it if any of you guys would like to donate, whether it's a penny, 2 cents, 3 cents, 5 cents. It doesn't matter how much it is. All that matters is that the thought and intention was there. And regardless of whether or not you donate, I'm still going to make my content. I'm still going to give you guys freebies and all that and handouts and not expecting anything in return. So let's go ahead and get into the list, you guys. Keep in mind, like I said, the main deck, there's certain cards that I just don't have yet. So before you ask, where's it at, just keep in mind, remember what I said in the profile if you're paying attention. So let's go ahead and get into it. So starting with my Prank Kids, we have 3 copies of Roxy's. Roxy's is the eldest of all the kids. Now, he was born 1 minute earlier before everybody else. They all were like a minute apart. There's like Roxy's, and then Lampsies, and then Dropsies, and then Fansies. And even though Roxy's is the oldest, Lampsies is the most responsible, and he's the one who does all the footwork, and everybody listens to him. And Roxy's, funny enough, has a big butt and a rock afro. I don't know if Konami was racist for making that, but I feel like this was just like, you didn't hear me say that. But anyways, 3 copies of Roxy's. If you guys are not familiar with how Prank Kids work, their effects only resolve if they're sent to the graveyard, specifically graveyard, as a fusion or link material for a Prank Kid monster only. That's the only way you get their effect, but it is busted. This deck spams a lot because all of them have an effect to special another Prank Kid from the deck, and then you do an action first and then special Prank Kid from the hand or the deck. So as you're fusing and linking off, they just extend your plays. So like your whole deck is an extender. But anyways, 3 Roxy's. I was getting ahead of myself. 3 copies of Lampsies. Lampsies is Fi-Fi. I really love the art on these cards too. Like, Lampsies literally going Super Saiyan on you, bro. He's pretty pissed, and he does get a lot of the work done. He is the responsible one, and you know, he's very aggressive, and he kind of just, when I'm not there, you know, when I leave, I trust him to watch them, and I know he's good because they can't take advantage of him. He's too smart, and you know, he ain't no wuss. We have 3 copies of Dropsies. The Gay Crybaby. This one came out the closet a while ago, the one that has that little giggly face right there. He let me know, and I was like, bro, you didn't have to hide it from me. I mean, Lampsy's already told me, truth be told, but he was like, you know, he wanted to beat the gay out of you. But anyways, jokes aside, because I'm not really like sexist, or I don't have anything against gay people. It's just like a terrible joke. Dropsies is an incredible card for time. I'd rather gain 1,000 life points than inflict 500 to my opponent, just because the gap's bigger, period. Like, burning for 5 and gaining 1,000 is just different, you know. So I just think in terms of time, because this deck is really crazy in time, and it's very consistent, Dropsies is just incredible. And also, it's the card that lets you make totally awesome. So I just really like Dropsies, even though, you know, again, me and him we're fighting right now, but his other 2 twins, they're fine. Dropsies is the crybaby. He's the youngest. He was born 4 minutes after Roxy's, 3 minutes after Lampsies, 2 minutes after Fansies. Now, Fansies Young, Wild, and Free. So what? We get drunk. Yeah. Like Young, Wild, and Free, baby. He's dabbing on you. He has a tornado for legs. I love that they embodiment the elements too. Like they embody the elements. It's crazy. Like you got rock, fire, water, and wind. They're really, really awesome. I love the artwork. You guys definitely have to check out my other Prankid deck profiles. I'm telling you guys, I really do like this deck. But I have a lot of decks and a lot of content that I have to make, and too many people asking me for too much. So I don't always have time to update some of the fan favorites and some of the decks you guys want to see. But I got time today, baby. And also keep in mind, not only is it their attribute, but their types is what gives you even more splashability. Because now, for example, Gallic Granite can actually be an extender in this deck because it works. You play rock, you could search, or do the other effect. And now you have a way to make Ring Force to search Nibiru. Fansies is a Thunder, so you were able to just tribute it for Colossus when, Colossus was legal. Him being an Aqua allows you to make totally awesome. And him being a Pyro gives you more synergy. So now when you're playing under Gozen or Rivalry the Warlords or Gozen match, either one of these can just, in plus with your links, like you can just easily play under those. Now, based on effects, I think that Fansies has the best effect of all the 4 Prankids. He allows you to Foolish Burial any Prankid card from your deck to your grave. What's really incredible about that is while you're under Droll and Lockbird, you can literally use him to dump the spell or trap that you need and use Doodle Doodle Doo to add it from your graveyard to hand because Droll's so prolific this format. And this deck never lost to a Droll, ever. Like when I was playing this deck and Droll was being played, it still was around that time. It was just like, it was terrible. This deck also chain blocks very similar to Shadal's, and its plays get started off fusion spells, but like you can't ash its fusion spell. Pandemonium can't be ashed, so you don't have like, there's certain strengths that it has and then certain weaknesses that it has that Shadal's just don't mirror. So I can't really make that comparison, but the analogy is there for you guys to get the proper interpretation of how this deck is played. Very similar. You just try to activate a fusion spell, let it resolve, start getting some chain links going off, and build your advantage on your turn. And then after you do that, you're going to make a lot of your plays on your opponent's turn. This deck is very control oriented. It doesn't necessarily stop cards from resolving. It's like, it's fair because it lets you play. It just stops you at your choke points, and it progresses its game state very fast. So if your deck's not like a Spiral deck or like a meta deck, and it doesn't have a fast-paced tempo, and it takes time to get the ball rolling, this deck can just kill you out of nowhere because it does turbo out link 4s. It link spams. But I think Fansies is the best one. Now Roxy's, when you're side decking, it's nice because you get to draw a card and then you get to banish, so you get to see an extra card. So you basically get to see your 6th card that you would have drawn because you could chain block and stuff and make sure that you draw your next card before you go into your deck. But I just think Fansies is exceptional because just dumping from your deck to your grave and adding from your grave to your hand is nearly the equivalent of just adding from your deck to your hand, except it's just not searching, so you can do it under Droll. So he's just really crazy this format because Droll is very prolific. Keep in mind, you do have so many attributes for your Invoke matchup. You're giving them a lot, but I will say you can chain effects to fetch from grave if they're activating Invocation. Like you could chain Bow Wow Bark and get those cards back so they can't banish your stuff. Then I played 3 Planet Pathfinder. I feel like at this point I put this card on the map. I played this in Pendulums. I played this in Pranks. I played this in every deck that I could possibly play it comfortably in. It's great spice, it really is, and certain decks just really need it. And this, what I like about it is it just really gets me exactly where I need. I was playing the Fusion Recycling Plant and the Place for targets. I kind of misplaced set rotations, so the Fusion Recycling Plant was with the set rotation, so when I find those, like I was saying, there's certain cards in the main deck that I just don't have. Like the Call Buys would be in here, and the Fusion Recycling Plant and the set rotation would be in here if I had them. So right now his only option is searching Place, but I always liked him in this deck because he could search either Poly or Prankid. But we have so many ways to fuse, he really just gives you more copies of Place. So I still like him, but when I find my plant, it's gonna come back in so that he's still as versatile as most other cards. And then we have 2 copies of King of the Swamp. It just searches out Poly, and it allows you to make Battle Butler with 1 less Prankid, which can be viable for you because sometimes you just don't have enough resources to do so. So he kind of has double purpose like the Planet Pathfinder. And then I am playing my Fright for Patchwork engine in this deck. I like the Edge and Chain specifically being the level 4 because in your standard combo, you really don't normal summon at all. That's why Pathfinder's here, because you don't like really normal summon. Like if you open an optimal hand, of course. So in an optimal hand, when you patchwork for Edge of Chain and a Poly, you typically get to do your standard combo. And what happens is because Poly doesn't restrict you like Pandemonium, you can still make generic XYZ. So you'll typically normal summon him next to Prank Kid Roxy's that got specialed off of any of their effects, overlay that and that into a rank 4 like Dweller or Tornado. Then when this gets detached, it's sent. It doesn't get its effect, but the thing is, you still get to basically get the poly, and you also get to get a level 4 body so that you can get your overlay for any generic rank 4, and the poly set your combo off too. So I kind of like it. Not only searches out the poly, but it allows me to have a free pseudo extender so that I can get extra body on field, because these are all hard ones per turn, so that I can make the Dweller. Because like Dweller is just really important in this deck. Like it just really is, because there's certain matchups where like totally awesome just ain't enough. It's just one negate. Just keep that in mind. And detaching is a cost and all that. So like this card, it doesn't play under that, but it's still really insane. It's just really, really good. And it makes Patchwork valuable. It really does, so I like it. Keep in mind what I said. Detaching it does not get its effect, so do not go there with me. So spells, we have 3 copies of Prank Kids Plays. The card, after you activate it, even if it's Ash Blossom, which most of the time it's fine because you just play so many ways to get to pranks, it allows you to chain block so that you can always have this as the highest card in the chain, whether you're link summoning or fusioning, so that your opponent's hand traps become irrelevant after you activate this card. So this card is your Called by the Grave, but sometimes you need it to resolve. So Called by the Grave is needed in certain scenarios. When you have a weak hand, when you literally only have one Prank Kid and this and a poly, and they Ash this, you can't play. So that's what Called by is still necessary. But Ash Blossom, believe it or not, Ash Blossom and the Nibiru are actually the only hand traps that hurt this deck. Like legitimately. Certain instances, DD Crow can slow you down a little bit, just a very, very little bit. But Ash Blossom and Nibiru are the only hand traps that can actually impact whether or not you can even go off. And when you open so many pranks in a poly and this, and they always burn their Ash on this, it's just useless. But that's what the Call by is there for, just the Ash. Because like Valor sucks against this deck. You can Valor the Bow Wow Bark. I mean, not the Bow Wow Bark. You can Valor Doodle Doodle Doo. I can just literally just summon another one, tribute it for cost, add from grave to hand, or still tribute for cost no matter what. You can like Valor, Rocket Ride, still think you can still tribute for cost, or just fuse for another one. Like it's just stupid. So most hand traps that are popular, like Droll and Imperm Veil, all that, like they don't really work. So like Ash and Nibiru are the hand traps that actually can affect this deck. And this card already just is like a bait for Ash. So like if they don't have Nibiru, hand traps aren't gonna be a problem, which I love. And the chain blocking, it's just, there's so much value in this card, and you can easily beat over problem monsters because you're constantly shrinking or constantly boosting. You can get Bow Wow Bark and Bow Wow Bark and like Butler to just like gigantic and insane proportional attack value. Continuing, we're playing the Patchworks. It is a little bit more consistent in terms of hard drawing a way to get to poly. But where the grind game lies, I think that Patchwork is not as good as the Fusion Recycling Plant, because the grind game is there with the Recycling Plant, where as you're fusing on your turn and your opponent's turn, you're always adding a prank back to keep your hand filled. But this deck has really good follow-ups anyways. This deck's recovery, I think, is its biggest strength. And if you pay attention to the main cards in your extra deck, your links and your fusions, outside of the boss monsters, all they do is recover cards. They add from grave to hand and special from grave to the field. So all this deck really does is just recover and constantly replace the resources it's using. So it's a really, really good contender. Like I said, this deck's really nutty. It's very powerful. I'm playing 3 OG Polys. We're playing 3 Pandemoniums. Now, Pandemonium is a card that can play around Anti-Spell, D-Barrier, different dimension ground, stuff like that. Because whenever they activate those cards, it's a quick effect, so you can't chain it to fuse. But just keep in mind, it's only during the main phase, and it does lock you into only pranks. But it does play around like D-Barrier, Call Fusion. You're like chain, this, fuse. Obviously, it has to be in the main phase, so just keep that in mind. But it does have applications where it can play around certain side deck cards that can hurt you, like Anti-Spell Fragrance, if you have it, for example, or like when you activate Poly and they're like chain Imperial Order and you're like, alright, chain Pandemonium. It's really nice, the fact that it's a quick play, and that's why you're still able to make plays on your opponent's turn off of Plan and Pandemonium. And you're normally using the links to just add the cards back from grave that you need to keep fusing off. And then you're summoning the links back with the fusion, so it's really cool. We played 3 copies of Pranks. pranks can get your brick hands that, like, to just be playable. Like if you have a brick hand with like this, you know, an extra spell that you don't need, and just any prank kit monster, you just make a token, normal the prank kit, link into a doodle doodle doo, and doodle doodle doo can like allow you to not only chain block, but search out the prank kit's place so that you can keep going off, or search off the pandemonium if you need it, and then you fuse off into the dude, and you just, this deck's nuts. And then I play on 3 instant fusions. Instant fusion is like really insane in this deck. I wish I had other instant fusion like target like the Millenniumizer Strix specifically. I really wish I had that card, because this would it's so good. Like if you can have that, this would be like Called by the Grave, and then I really just wouldn't play Called by the Grave at all. But instant fusion is like a 1-card link for most of the time, like just top decking situations. It's just very powerful. If you have the resources in grave, instant fusioning for Rocket Ride could just game your opponent. We have 1 Pot of Avarice. Even though this deck's really good with maintaining its resources and you can outgrind some decks, sometimes your opponent's smart and they just don't attack, right? So they don't trigger plan until they know you're like out of resources completely. So you just need other ways, and this is another way outside of pranks and outside of adding from grave to hand with the links. And I do play 1-for-1, so that it's another way to get to a prank kit. I was gonna play Reasoning too, but my list does play a little bit too many of the same levels. Like I play like 8 level 4s, which is kind of bad, and then I play multiple 3s. If it was all different levels and not really a lot of multiples, Reasoning would be in this list, because Reasoning is really good in this deck. And I play 2 copies of Plan. You really want to play 2. The reason being is because you want 1 in grave whenever you dump it off fancies, whenever you feel like it. And sometimes you actually want to activate it on your opponent's turn, like when they're playing back row decks and they set, and they like attempt to leave main phase, and you're like, before you leave your main phase, bam, you know, link into Rip Roaring Rooster and just nuke their entire back row. It's just insane, and it allows you to chain block, just keep pushing. Just having 1 on field is impressive, but also sometimes there are certain games where you resolve his grave effect twice to put everything back. So now for the extra, shame on you, where are you, Dueler? There we are. I'm doing deck profiles for a lot of decks, so I'm just kind of sharing my staples with everything. But anyways. So let's go ahead and get into this. So we've got 2 Rocket Rides. I definitely think in regards to the fusions, you want to play multiples. You don't want to play like 3, because then you lose space for generic stuff, which is an issue I'm having right now, but I think 2 of each is correct. Sometimes you regret playing 2 because it just, you have situations where you're like, dang, I got DD Crow twice, and it's like, on this specifically, it can hurt, but that's very niche, and it's kind of like, it's not going to realistically come up enough. The Battle Butler, people forget, so like, you can only use this effect is different from you can only use each effect. So the effect that you can only use once per turn is the effect that if he dies, but you can actually resolve Battle Butler multiple times. It's crazy. 3 Doodle Doodle Doos. This link is crazy, yo. I was only going to play 1 Bowel Bark, but actually 2 comes up a lot. Especially when you're going for game and you're under Pandemonium, because like sometimes it's the only way you can make plays. You just use Bowel Barks to just keep boosting guys. And like you can just go like that, like sometimes. Or you just move them around, because you can put them in grave and resummon them off your fusions and just put the zones wherever you want so the arrows point to the monsters you want them to point. And then it's a follow-up on your opponent's turn. And it also protects your entire board if it's all pranks. So it's just really good. Like this could have been a generic too, you know, like it could have literally been a generic, but it's just way too good, you guys. And then the Rip Roaring Rooster, so you have a Raigeki and you also have a Heavy Storm, and every full combo can get you to either one of them. So if you're playing against a deck that loses to a board wipe, you can just blow them out. And then we've got Borosword and Borload, because this deck can make them both in 1 turn very fast. You can make Appalusas expeditiously. If you open Poly and 2 pranks, you can actually end on like Appalusa with like Dweller. Totally Awesomes are inside of my Paleozoics right now. It's late. I'm just too lazy right now to go digging through deck boxes, but you absolutely have to play Totally Awesome in this deck. It's just not only because it's easy to make, but every time you negate with it, you get a drop these back to your hand, which could be a Bowel Bark play. I mean, not Bowel Bark. It could be a Battle Butler play, or it could be a Weather Washer play. Because Weather Washer is still insane too. Like, it's a little bit better on than the Rocket Ride, just because you can use it on your opponent's turn. And I would show you guys a combo, but like honestly, I'm getting like very burnt out, and I still got more profiles to do. But yeah, that's my prank kid deck profile, you guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, there's certain cards that I just literally don't have. I would play them, and you know, like if you guys are gonna ask like what would you take out, what would you put in, like I just want to tell you, like just build your deck, bro. Build it. Don't let anybody tell you how to build your deck. Just build your deck the way you want to play it, bro. Like don't let anybody think for you. You have a powerful brain at your disposal. Like don't do, you know, like things where you're having people tell you exactly what to put in, exactly what to take out, and exactly how to play. It's your deck, not mine. So definitely recommend you try some things out for yourself, but ultimately at the end of the day, nobody can do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. That's how you're going to learn. But thank you guys for everybody who understands. God bless you. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content. And I'm definitely like, I'm burnt out, yo. Peace out, you guys.